And we are live on YouTube.
Right, good evening everyone and welcome to the Environment Services Committee at Weymouth Town Council on the 16th of July 2025. We've got a lot on the agenda tonight, so we're going to crack on straight away. Do we have any apologies for absence?
We do not.
Okay, fantastic. So we don't need to approve any. Do we have any declarations of interest? There's been none pre-notified. Councillor Hope.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chairman. I'm going to declare a non-pecuniary interest on item 12, being the Christmas events. Weymouth Lions Club, which I'm a member, previously worked with the bid and may work with the council on this agreement, as we know Father Christmas and get his sleigh to Weymouth. So there's not maybe a conflict there, but it's non-pecuniary, like to my personal benefit.
Thank you very much. Any other declarations of interest? As always, if you think of any as the meeting goes on, please just raise a hand and we can get those noted down. Okay, item 4, minutes of the last meeting. So last meeting was held on the 4th of June 2025, and we're just looking to see if we are happy for them to be agreed as a true and accurate record and that they be signed as such. Does anyone have any comments on the last set of minutes from the 4th of June? Okay, in which case we go straight to the vote. All those in favour of agreeing that they were a true and accurate record?
Chair, can I just presume that you yourself are proposing that, case the second?
Yeah, you can presume that. Sorry, should have said. Yeah, so that was unanimous. Thank you. Okay, item 5, council questions and statements. Now, we didn't have any ahead of the initial deadline, but we have had one late submission, which we're going to allow, but that may affect the response received.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, for allowing this question at late notice. Apologies, it wasn't in by the 3 o'clock deadline, but the news obviously came to us later than 3 o'clock. Councillor Ryan Hope, Ward Member for Westham West in Weymouth. And my question is in relation to Council's recent, and I say very recent, announcement to remove the pontoons or swimming ramps from Greenhill. We already know that the public are very upset by this decision. This seems to come around every couple of years. I seem to recall it didn't happen during the Olympics year. I think back in 2009, I think there was a risk of them being lost. And I know that the late Honorary Alderman Joyce Stanley was very vocal and fought for their return. So certainly right in her memory that I do the same this evening. I think really my question is I want to understand why we've removed it and what's changed. I understand that it's to do with the RNI provision or no longer going to provide cover. However, it doesn't sit quite right with me that because the RNI never provided 24-hour cover anyway, and these were open for 24 hours for the 6 weeks or 5 weeks, however long they were there. I am also sort of being careful with my words here, but challenging the reasons why, further bearing in mind many other councils provide these facilities, Plymouth being one. There was a full list that I circulated earlier, including other councils and areas that do operate these with no direct life cover card needed, with other control measures in place, such as signage and ensuring that inspections are met and safety provisions are in place, such as life-saving rings. So my question, first of all, is can we please be advised why this has happened? And furthermore, can we explain if we've looked at any other opportunities with other councils that are still providing this to see how they do and whether or not we can implement the same measures that they've got in place?
Thank you. Thank you. Your late submission question.
Yeah.
Over to the Assistant Town Clerk.
Thank you for your question, Councillor Hope. Questions. As per standing orders, standing order 31, 1 day's notice in writing is required to the clerk of the meeting. So what I will do is vote response and circulate it to members of this committee and the wider councillors. Conflicts. Would that be for myself or the town clerk, Jane?
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, can I just point out standing order 31.2.2 that say urgent items may come forward by 3 p.m. submission, and I appreciate that I did not meet that 3 p.m. submission, but of course the news broke after 3 p.m. and I'm sure that other councillors in this room, as well as the public, are really interested to know the reasons why. This has already attracted big attention on social media. It's been shared, there's been lots of comments, and I think we really need to look at this really carefully. And if a measure cannot be introduced for this year to return, then we need to explore other opportunities. And I would welcome a scrutiny on this so that we can look at ways to actually move forward in future years.
Thank you very much. Okay, now we'll move on to item 6, that's public questions. We haven't had any public questions received in advance. I don't think there are any members of the public here with us this evening. So we'll move straight on to item 7, which is the Seafront Lighting Working Group being introduced by Shane.
Thank you, Chair. This report seeks member support for the development of options for seafront lighting. Officers feel that it's important to gain councillors' input into the various options that are available and appoint a members' working group made of at least 4 members. That would be the best way forward to explore and discuss this before bringing a report back to this committee to consider. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Short and sweet. Like it. Excellent. Okay, does anyone want to raise any points or discussion areas in this one? Councillor Weller, I think we got there first.
Don't really want to discuss it in any way. Clearly, if we do need to look at it, it would make more sense for us to put, we previously we had 4 of us together, we looked at all the various options, we've had demonstrations. We put together a report of recommendations to come back to this committee with all the information we could gain. And a decision was made, and I would suggest that we do the same again. I served on that working group before and happy to do so again, should I be required.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Councillor Hope, you're next up.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chair. I'm just wondering if we can expand the scope on this piece of work with the working group, because I think probably 16, 17 months ago, when we approved the changes to the seafront public announcement system to take it into the beach control, there was a desire also to look at, actually, we feel that a full public announcement system was required. At the moment, we are only operating that public announcement system from the beach control office and one other speaker that's still in existence. And I'm wondering,
Councillor Hope, can we bring it back to the lighting?
Chair, I'm asking whether or not part of this recommendation we can expand the scope, because if we are looking at alternative lightings, we're going to have to put ducting and electric in. It makes perfect sense also to look at the infrastructure that may be required for a expanded public address system. And I'm wondering whether those 2 pieces of work could be done together so that we're not digging up the promenade once to dig up the promenade again if we need to put additional cabling. So it's just a request, can the 2 pieces of work be done together under one scope of work?
Okay. Do you want to come back? Shane?
I'm open to suggestions, so obviously we can look into different varieties of that. But my colleague Zach from the Beach Resort has been looking into that, so we could bring him in and get more of a scope of where we're at. But
I'd also like to bring to the table that, as far as I'm aware, we definitely comment over work streams or want any of our priorities aligned to Bill here, aligned to the sound system on the seafront. So again, if you did want us to explore sound, we could do that before Keith was presented to the committee.
Did you want to come back on that?
Yeah,
Sense you
it's
do.
my recall, Chair, and I don't have the notes here at the moment, but it was an expression of the committee to, and Councillor Weller does seem to be nodding in agreement,
That's my recollection.
to look at it, because, you know, we wanted a full public address system. The council's spending out, you know, every event that the council puts on, plus external providers now bring in the external resource. The external resource also comes with the, you know, the logistics. So I would like to try and just say now that we can put that strict work stream into here, and then we need to look at budgets and then delivery, then we can do.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. I'm in support of the recommendation and would like to put myself forward to serve as representative of the Conservative Group.
Thank you very much. Well, sorry, that's councillor.
Thank you. I think the councillor Hope's suggestion is a good one. Since we're there doing that piece of work, it may be that it then needs to be scheduled because of priorities and everything else. At least we might just as well do the piece of work as one piece of work. And do a scheduling accordingly, so that we get the best, because whatever we do with lighting, public announcements or anything else, we want the best possible value with the best possible outcomes, don't we? So doing it in tandem seems very sensible.
Councillor Atkins.
Yeah, I want to expand a bit further from what councillor Hope said, and I wonder whether the group should look at other priorities that impinge on the quality of the offer to Weymouth to tourists. For instance, would the money best spent on funding the cost of rangers or the police to reduce ASB and, more importantly, drug dealing along the Esplanade? The bid range has been a success in suppressing shoplifting. The issue has been raised to me and to John Orrell by the hoteliers and also by residents in the Esplanade area. So it may be to find a more favoured option for those who pay the precept than the one in mind.
Okay,
I am
sorry.
one sentence finally is I am concerned about affecting the offer, which already Bournemouth's having severe trouble with this, and we need to stop this issue while we can.
Okay, thank you. Just to remind members, the recommendation is about a working group for lighting. I think there's a danger if we go too wide with it, that it becomes ineffective. Would be my strong view on that. So if we can bring it back to the officer recommendation. So it currently reads that the committee agreed to appoint a working group for at least 4 members to consider options and costs in respect to any new seafront lighting decisions, which will be brought back to this committee for consideration. We've already had 2 people, councillor Weller and councillor O'Leary, raise a hand to be involved with this one. Is the correct way to give this to the vote and then members after? You absolutely can.
Yeah, just a thought on this, because there's been a lot of discussion about it, and the idea of putting in the microphone stuff, so there's the whatever it is along the seafront as well. Would it be worth setting a working group up and having the working group set the criteria for this? And then if there is additional work, if there's a bid needed, we'll have officers in the room to discuss that and work out where we go to from here. But I do think it should just be kept relatively small. So things that are electrical along the seafront would be my personal view. To start taking it wider is just going to go all over the place. So whether I need an amendment or an addition on that to be committed to set the criteria. Yeah.
Seafront electrical,
Infrastructure.
Yeah. Lighting and infrastructure. Is that okay? Is that just an edit, or does that need a?
nothing to be recommended, everybody's, this is just to.
We just discuss it, okay.
Just like to can do.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Right, I do, it's,
Oh, I don't know, the red bit will be deleted.
yeah. Infrastructure,
Electrical infrastructure.
yeah, I think that'll work, won't it? Is that going to cover everything we need? Is that okay?
It gives us a fairly broad
Yeah.
basis, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And then we can refine it.
My only concern there is electrical infrastructure does rather sound like we're going to dig up the road.
Well, you know, if we had to, we could, because we've got that there, but we're not going to say it on.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've got that there. Are you?
Yeah, if I could propose that.
Okay, is anyone happy to second? As written on the board currently, councillor Weller seconding. Is there any further comment at this stage? Yeah, in the sense we should probably move to the vote. Okay, so we've got the ever so slightly adjusted version up on screen, so you can see lighting has been up from it and changed it to electrical infrastructure. So we'll move to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? And any abstentions? So, okay, so that is carried. I think at this point, is it worth us putting the group together if we can get some commitments? Councillor Webb?
It was something else I was going to say. I absolutely take on board what councillor Atkinson was saying, and I think that I'd quite like it minuted that this is a discussion that we should have at some time to look into public safety aspects on the prom. It's not within our remit today, and it's far too big a subject to discuss today. But it is something that we need to address before it becomes a problem.
Thank you very much. I can hear the tippy tappy of minutes being made, and I can see notes being scribbled down. Councillor Taylor?
May I just comment on that, because we do have regular briefings from the police.
We do.
And these are just this general one to everyone, they're quite fully attended. I mean, you and I are always there, but
Because we've got sad lives.
we've got very sad lives. And I've got a portfolio. So I've got to go, but I would encourage any members to come along to those. Everyone should have an invite, officers come in as well. But there's an enormous amount of information given out over there, how they're doing and what they're doing with public safety, drug and alcohol and all the rest of it. So please come along to those if you can make them. We'll see one in your committee on your calendar.
Thank you very much. Just to finish this item off, because I'm keen that we sort of keep moving through the agenda. We've had Councillor Weller, Councillor O'Leary indicate that they would like to be on the working groups. That's 2. I think the recommendation called for 4. Are there any other members of this committee that would be happy to put themselves forward for that work?
If this committee though, does it?
No, it doesn't. Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chair. Just to say, I have gone back now and checked the minutes from the meeting back in January 2024, and it did say for an option to come back to committee for a fully costed plan for the whole seafront later on. So this council and this committee has set that scope in that direction. So this work would align with that recommendation.
Thank you. Are there any other members willing to put themselves forward at this stage to go on to that working group? Councillor Harmsworth, that's 3. Any other takers? If not, I assume we can email out to councillors and.
I'll be honest, Chairman.
It's a work commitment element, and I'll wait until the email comes out. I have to hold fire and think of family life as well. But thank you. Brilliant. Right. At this stage, then I believe those 3 members have been noted down, and an email will go out to the wider council body to look to fill that final position. It did say at least 4, so it could be that we end up with more people than that on it, obviously within reason. Right. Item 8. Thank you very much, James. Item 8, 12 months cost benefits of electric vehicle charging points. That's a mouthful. And this has been introduced by Ben Heath.
Thank you, Chair. So the purpose of this report is to feedback to the committee on the benefits of using electric vehicles over a 12-month period. This came about following a previous paper that was taken to full council on the 26th of June, and we installed some additional and upgraded some additional electric charging points. The report sets out some data on the 3 vehicles we've got and the mileage that they covered in those 12 months. The council does not have individual electric meters on each of the charging points, and therefore we obviously used some data and ways of giving a fair representation of what that benefit is, and then obviously use the electric and set it off against the diesel costs. That then gives us a saving of just over £1,500 in a year by using electric vehicles. And as well as the financial saving, obviously there will be carbon emission saving with that as well. The return on investments based on the 3 vehicles would be circa 9 years. But obviously as the council increase the electric vehicles in the fleet, that will obviously bring the amount of years down and obviously give us a quicker return on our investment. So the recommendation is for councillors to note the report and agree to continue the direction of travel as per the previously adopted decarbonisation action plan.
Thank you very much for the intro. Would anyone like to speak on the site? Joella?
We're asked to note, and I'd like to say that we have noted, and it looks very favourable.
Thank you very much. I believe we will need to go to a vote on it because of the section says have agreed to continue. So it will be a vote at the end of this process.
Sorry, Chairman, on that, it's purely out of curiosity. Obviously, it's a bit of a strange one to come to committee to note something and then to agree to progress. What would happen if the committee, I don't believe for a minute it would, voted no and voted against it? Would that then stop the entire decarbonisation programme? Or would it, you know, what would be the outcome of that?
Would certainly, if you were against the direction of fabric, that we could review and then bring back to a future meeting. So we could bring up a recommendation for it.
Councillor Toft.
Just a curiosity about the 9 years. Is that because after 9 years you're going to have to replace the charging points? Or what's that mean?
No, it's based on the amount that was used to put the charging points in and obviously upgrade the ones we had. And then obviously it's £1,500 or so, £1,500. So it's how quickly we would cover our nearly 14,000.
Do you have any idea of the length of life of those charging points?
The charge, I don't know a specific, but they're not like a battery where after circa 8-9 years they would perish. No, they would have longer lives than that. Yeah.
Councillor Hope.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you. First of all, I'd like to thank Ben for this report. I think when the committee made the decision to install the charging points, it was something we asked for. We said, can you come back with this information? So firstly, thank you very much for following the committee's recommendations. I think realistically, this is a really good return on investment. At the moment, with the vehicles that are using it, we're already seeing cost savings of 50%. And whilst we continue to grow our fleet of electric vehicles, those cost savings will continue to grow and the payback on investment will come forward a lot quicker. I'm therefore willing to make a proposal to accept the recommendation as printed in the paper.
Thank you very much. Anyone happy to second? Councillor Weller. Any further comments before we go to the vote? Okay, in which case you've all seen the officer recommendation to note progress and agree to continue the direction of travel as per the previously adopted decarbonisation action plan. We've got a proposal, we've got a second. So we'll move into the vote. All those in favour? That is unanimous. Thank you very much. So that is passed. Thank you very much, mate.
Thank you.
All right, just scrolling down the pen. So, item 9. This is going to be introduced by Will Holmes and this relates to the winter seawater testing. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. This report presents the result of the council's pilot winter seawater quality monitoring programme at Greenhill Beach, undertaken in response to the growing numbers of off-season sea swimmers and water users. Following the unanimous committee approval in July 2024, the pilot ran from January to May 2025 with weekly sampling. Some weeks were missed due to the stormy weathers. I'm pleased to confirm that the water quality met the Environment Agency's excellent classification throughout the testing period. The 95% percentile results for E. coli and intestinal enterococci were well below the thresholds, demonstrating that Greenhill Beach maintained consistently high standards even outside the official bathing season. The officer recommendation is that the council continue weekly winter testing from October 2025 to May 2026 and publicly share the results online via a new on-site red, amber, green system sign. While the cost just under 3,000 annually plus an on-cost for signage cannot be met from an existing budget, staff time can be within current resources and funding will be requested from budget support reserve. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very valuable piece of work. So would anyone like to speak on this item?
You feel all right, Al?
We're behind you. Councillor Hope.
Thank you very much. I was sort of delaying because
Yeah.
Councillor said, well, would want to come in first because this is his little baby project and it was his pit, so I was making way there. I think it's a great piece of work. We've got some good research here. But my question is, this council has an aspiration to extend the season. And bring people in and encourage sea swimming all year round because of the good health benefits that it brings. So I'm really interested to find out, are we promoting this for winter swimming? To draw in that we've got good clean water, come to Wayne for your winter holiday, come and do some wild swimming. And B, have we done any market research from some of the swimming groups that are using it? There's plenty of swimming groups that are doing open water swimming. Plus maybe just go down there with a clipboard and carry out a survey on a day where you see someone in the water in the winter. So ask, are they actually looking at this information and is it encouraging them to swim more, or is this something we're just doing? I've got no issue spending that. It's a very small amount if it's having a positive effect on our residents and encouraging people into the water. So if we're just collating data and putting it into a data bank, then I don't see much great benefits.
I'm happy to answer the first part of that question regarding marketing. We have a marketing budget, so we're not a destination marketing organisation. So Visit Dorset may promote the area for out-of-season activities and so forth. That is not something that we as council company promote.
And the second question, I know that resort team members who went and did the weekly testing have a lot of really good feedback from a lot of the sea swimmers. It seemed to be that they were going at the same time as the water testing, so an on-site sign that would be updated weekly and the information publicised on our website, I think would help that.
Yeah, I go back to supplementary.
Yes, okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Will, for that response. It's good to hear that actually it was boosting public opinion, encouraging people into the water. As for the assistant town clerk's response, I realise that we don't have a budget line for marketing tourism, but we do have an in-house comms team that are continuously pushing out good messages from Weymouth Town Council and promoting activities and events in the town. So I'm sure that they could be promoting some of these facts to say, come to Weymouth, we've got good clean water in the winter and encouraging footfall.
Thank you very much. Now, I think we're going, councillor Weller next, and then we councillor Dickinson.
Well, added to what councillor Hope said, I think that those messages that our comms team are sending out on our Facebook pages and so on, you know, they do little films of number of member staff doing X or Y, they can add that into that. I do know, and I'm sure the councillor Toff can confirm, that the various swimming WhatsApp groups do check those reports all the time, and if it's adverse, it will be on that WhatsApp group before you're awake in the morning. So it is appreciated, and people come down from Dorchester and beyond to swim open swimming in our waters right through the year. So there are ways that we can promote it, and the signage is useful again so that people can see it. So we should do it within what budgets restraints we have. I'd like to thank and congratulate Councillor Atkinson, because I suspect that without him sort of giving us a little bit of a push, more than a little bit of a push perhaps, but a push in the right direction, we would just have accepted the status quo and done nothing else, because we didn't have the expertise. Understandably, we didn't have the expertise in-house. So we're jolly lucky that we have an elected member who does have the expertise and was able to share it with us.
Thank you very much, councillor Dickinson.
I just wondered whether, you know, this could be extended, you know, because, you know, by what I'm saying is, you know, if we had, say, 5 years worth of this to sort of look at, surely that would benefit us in so many other ways as well. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
You know, because obviously we want to get the blue flag back for a start, that would be one thing. But if people could see that we are really committed to this and that we were actually testing the water, and we've got 5 years worth of actually doing it, I just think it would look so much better on the council. That's it.
As part of the recommendation is, I would come back, if it was agreed tonight, I would come back next year with 1 year's worth of results, and then if you'd like to continue to do that, then that's down to you. So it's not just going to be a one winter thing. Then
I mean, is there a budget constraint or what? I mean, is it an expensive thing to do to test it or?
Not particularly, in the report, it says, £3,000 per year, so that's for the testing, the material to be sent off. There is a one-off charge of £300 this year for the sign, so it would be, a relatively small amount of money that, that could have a great benefit to local people.
Thank you very much, councillor Atkinson.
I only wanted to say that I think the idea would be, as Will said, to publicise it in future. But the point of this winter was to do a trial to find out whether we could actually do it, to find some idea of what the values were. So that's why it hasn't been publicised to date.
Thank you very much, councillor Taylor.
I'm sort of relatively on the fence on this one. Just as a microbiologist, because that's what my training is. What we're thinking is, what do we do if we start getting positive tests? Because the test results will come back a few days after the water's been taken. And then we start putting onto our website, and we've then got a positive test, and we're closing part of the beach. I mean, I think we've, you know, the test results that we've got are absolutely brilliant. But the origin of any contamination that we have is going to be very hard to establish, whether it's from dogs and horses on the beach, or whether it's from cattle and farm runoff. So I think we have to be mindful of what we're doing, and mindful of what we're going to do, the risks that are involved with it, and what we're going to do if we start getting a positive result. Because the negative impact of that could be a lot more than the positive impact that we've got at the moment. I think what we've done as a pilot is brilliant. And if this was coming under the Environment Agency and under their remit to do the testing, I'd be a lot more comfortable. But for when the town council to be tested, I'm not sure this is our job, because we've got no authority to do anything with the results, apart from just advise on our beach. So it's a one-off pilot. I think it's brilliant. It's got some really useful information, but to keep doing it with fingers crossed that it's going to carry on good is, do you see sort of where I'm coming from?
Could we not get Wessex Water involved?
Well, yeah, but the point is, if it's another authority that's actually doing the testing, and it's their responsibility to test, as it would be the Environment Agency, then it's their responsibility. I don't like this sort of thing being taken as our responsibility.
Okay, thank you very much, councillor Atkinson.
Yeah, I'm just going to say a couple of things. One is that, well, the first thing to say is the way in which excellence is defined is from a batch of readings, not from a single reading. So therefore, that's what the excellence and what the most 50th percentile is about. So it wouldn't be a single reading. But that is the issue at the moment. I mean, the risk, and if you read the background paper that I'm in the future consideration, is that for 3 of the last 4 years, the readings have gone high in August. Only last year did they go high enough that we lost the excellence status, but it happens each year. So it's in the summer, it's already what you're concerned about is clearly being shown. It probably doesn't seem to happen in the winter because it seems to be a tourist-related thing in the summer thing. And the final thing to say is that yes, what you want may be achieved because there is pressure from government and I presume Liberal Democrats and others, that Environment Agency may be forced to do all year testing rather than summer testing, and we would stop it immediately as soon as they did that. But I hate to say, obviously it's better if the agency does it than we do it, but still be a benefit in doing it for us and our tourism and our residents.
Just come back on that. Is it worth us putting pressure on the EA to take this up on a 12-month basis? Because it is so important to us. But I am.
It would be worth doing that, whether you'll succeed. I mean, the problem is that they're short of resources, you know, that they don't think they have the funding. Yeah.
Well, I think it may be worth opening the conversation with them,
Brilliant.
by all means.
Councillor Welland.
And I'm going on from what you're both saying, yes, it's an Environment Agency responsibility, really. But us doing this, and we can afford to at the moment, is giving evidence to any requests that we make and any pressure that we put on the EA we are evidence backed by it, and I think that's always useful.
Thank you. So, we've got a recommendation in the paper. We're yet to have anyone propose it. I thought as much. I'll put a little pause in there. And councillor Todd, you indicating to second.
Yeah.
Councillor Hope.
Thank you.
I'll propose in a second, but just for
Yeah.
clarity.
On the recommendation, Chair, can I propose that we do make a slight amendment? Well, number one, clarity on what's being proposed. There's two options in the paper. So can I have clarity, please, from the proposer, and seconder, what they're actually proposing? Number two, if they are proposing option one, which I believe they probably are, which is to continue. Can I please request an addition to that, following councillor Taylor's recommendations, that we we ask either the mayor or the leader of this council to write to the Environment Agency with a request that they do consider picking this up as a all year round activity.
Thank you. The options 1 and 2 don't appear within the recommendation. The recommendation is indicating to carry on the testing, so I think that would be option 1 from this section further up the report, is my understanding. Is that how you view it?
I'm happy if that is, but of course it wasn't stated what they were recommending.
Okay, so let's just read it out for clarity. The committee approve that the council should continue to conduct a water quality monitoring programme at Greenhill Beach from October 25 to May 26, and to publicly, this is a really important bit in my view, and to publicly share the results in line with bathing water classifications on the council website. Officers will provide an update reports to this committee at the end of the monitoring period for the committee to then decide if they wish to continue with this for future seasons. So I assume you're happy to carry on with your proposal and section being there. Unless there are any further comments, we'll move to the vote, I think. So, last round.
I made it.
You want that extra sentence?
I'm
I
asking.
want that in there. It already says that it's to continue.
No, sentence to say we write to the.
Oh, okay.
Proposed-
Oh, right,
I
yes.
proposed an amendment, didn't I, to the recommendation,
Okay.
Chair?
Yeah, it's fine.
I need a seconder.
So seconded by councillor Taylor. Call the mayor.
The leader or the mayor?
I don't mind who it's the leader of it.
Should be your leader.
Can I suggest we use our MP for this as well?
Well, we can write it to the attention to the MP as well.
Seems to be pretty good at doing things, so.
Comment.
Yeah.
Happy with that?
No,
Right.
I was, my amendment was to
We have one voice because we're trying to listen to an amendment.
clarify, my amendment was to write to the Environment Agency directly. And if we write to our local MP, he's only going to also write to the Environment Agency. If the MP is listening to Wakefield Town Council, he will join us in that call. And I'm sure the Labour Party members here will ask him to also do the same. But my recommendation is to write to the Environment Agency directly.
Thank you. You have a second still? Yeah, so we got the second there. So we've got an amendment proposed and seconded, which is currently up on the screen. Any particular comments on that? Okay, so it's a vote. Right, so we vote on the amendment at this stage. So all those in favour of the amendment? Yeah. So that's unanimous. So the amendment is carried. So that now becomes the substantive up on the board. Still happy to propose? Yeah, seconds, we've got proposer and second. Any further comments? Fantastic, in which case let's go to the vote. All those in favour? That again is unanimous, so that is carried. Thank you very much. Important bit of work. Right. Item 10, this is going to be introduced by Will.
Me all to the end.
He's here for the long term. So, Will introducing item 10, which is the introduction of card payment system at Swannery Toilets. Thank you, Rich.
Thank you, Chair. This report proposes an upgrade to the Swannery public toilets by introducing a contactless card payment system alongside a standardised increase in charge to 50p per use. The recommendation follows the successful implementation of a similar system at Cove Street, where early signs showed improved efficiency and positive user feedback. Operationally, it would remove the need for frequent officer visits to collect, count and deposit cash, saving significant staff time, especially during the peak season. To cover the transaction and system running costs, a 20p increase is proposed from 30p to 50p, bringing it in line with Co Street. Based on last year's usage, this would generate an additional £2,500 annually and deliver a return on investment in under 2 years. The accessible toilet will remain free for Radar Key users, and the required works, including door replacements for safety, will be funded within existing budgets. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone would like to open up discussion on this one? Councillor O'Leary.
Yeah, thank you. I am actually opposed to this move, and I'm opposed to charging toilets. Twofold. Number one is I think already residents pay for through Precept for services. So I think to then charge them for the use of public toilets is not something I'm particularly comfortable with. I understand the aspect of tourists paying for that, but I think we also want to encourage tourists to come down here. I don't think anyone would be popped from coming to Wayne and have to be 50p for the loo. But I think it does build into, it is one of the small things, and you add all these small things together, you know, increased parking charges, toilet fees, other things into it. I think it does build a sort of a fleecing element perhaps to it from some people. I misplaced my wallet the other week after a night out and was in town the following day after dinner. And I needed to use a public restroom, and I didn't have my card on me. I only had cash, and I had to wait till I went to a restaurant to eat in order to use the services there. So I am a great believer in cash. Cash is king, and I don't think we should be encouraging this move nationally to card. I understand there is logistical issues with cash, but we have done it before in the past. I mean, 50 years ago, everything was in cash. While I don't want to go back to that, I do think we have to keep it open for people that do use cash. So therefore, I am opposed to this, and we'll be voting no.
Thank you very much. Anyone else has to mention? Councillor Tufton.
We always used to pay for toilets. We used to put penny in the slot. We did it for generations and everybody was fine with it. And the cost of 50p today's terms compared to putting a penny in the slot is pretty much the same. So, and I think it's mostly the visitors that are using it, not the residents. We're not penalising the residents. And every other seaside town seems to do it, so.
Well,
I think we've demonstrated that by using a locked door system and people having to access via cash or a card, we have reduced our vandalism rates. People appreciate being able to go into a facility that is clean and neat and tidy and properly maintained, and that was our aim. Providing public conveniences is not a statutory duty. The alternative could be that we close them all. And I'm sure both our residents and our visitors would far rather pay 50p than not have the facility at all. I'm going to ask a silly question. A cardless, a card system would also use your telephone, wouldn't it? Because an awful lot of young people don't carry a card. They just, their lives are on their phones. So yeah, it's a scary thought, but it is the case. I thank you for reassuring me on that, because my life is on my phone.
just for the benefit of the recording, there was some nodding to indicate that yes, it would accept
phone payments. I take Councillor O'Leary's point about, you know, cash and an awful, not just older people, an awful lot of people say, but I only use cash. And we've had this with our parking machines, haven't we? But we're not going to make the savings if we leave one door with a cash thing, are we? Because we've still then got to send people out. So we do just have to, you know, like it or not, people do have to bite the bullet and say, you know, they're going to use their card for some things. Use your cash elsewhere when you can. I approve of that, but I'd be very happy to recommend we accept the recommendation.
Is that the proposal?
Yes.
Keep track of the table.
Yeah, I always find toilets really interesting. Have a lot of debate. I remember once sitting on a working group and one of the members visited all the toilets in town, which I thought was really weird. But that's the interesting thing, I think, yes, in an ideal world, they should be free. But unfortunately, we haven't got an ideal world. This is a real problem. If we could open them up and let them all be free and that everyone would look after them, then we wouldn't have a problem. So while I totally agree with you that they should be free, I think in the world that we live in, it would be very, very difficult to run in that. The only other thing I would like to request is both these and Coe Street toilets are the ones that we pay for, basically, the rest are free. Whether there would be, they have to be absolutely clean. Is there any sort of enhanced cleaning or any sort of on-call stuff so that if they are dirty, someone is there instantly and cleans them? I think that would be really useful, and then to me, it makes them worth 50p. The worst thing out is if you put your 50p in when you go in, it's disgusting.
Yeah, so within all the toilets, there is a QR code, a phone number that you can call if something has happened. Obviously, our cleansing team do a fantastic job. Sometimes they can go in there and then the next person will just trash it.
Absolutely.
But yeah, there are phone numbers, there's QR codes, they can contact us quite quickly. And we are around.
Would be interested, sorry, would be interesting to know how many people actually use that. Or whether we get complaints coming in by people who haven't reported it in, which is the usual thing, it's what we get with potholes, or there's a pothole that's been there for a year. Well, have you reported it?
Yeah.
You know, and I'd find that quite interesting, how, you know, sort of outside this meeting, rather than in here, just how much reporting back is done. Thank you.
Thank you very much, councillor
Thank you very much, Chair. I think here tonight, we're not really discussing whether or not we should charge or not for this toilet. This toilet is already being charged for. What we're deciding is whether we want to change the method of charging and increase that fee. I sort of look at this one and think, if we're charging 50p in another toilet, as long as those standards are being maintained in this toilet, which I know this toilet is more older and Coe Street had a refurbishment, and are the standards the same to be charged the same, then I've got no issues really to be increasing it to 50p if that is our policy charging system. What I do kind of sit on the fence with here is really the customer experience. You know, the sell on us charging more was we were going to do this as we upgraded the toilets to maintain them to a high standard, and what the user will experience is a nice, clean, new facility. If that is not reaching that standard, then it's a bit difficult to increase that charge, in my opinion. And I'm really interested to hear what is our user feedback from the new toilets in Coe Street. I visited them when going to Farringdon Square and the Folk Festival. I thought they were very, very good. They were clean. They were vandalised, you know, no vandalism in there. That they were to a good standard. And I've heard a lot of people also saying that they went in there and they thought it was very good. So, you know, well done to those involved in delivering that refurbishment. But it is really, you know, hearing that experience, first of all, to make, if we're going to make this change as a policy, that is the thing. What is the evidence to support that that facility and that service is worth that value? I also appreciate, you know, the costs are increasing, energy, toiletries, water, staff to cleanse it. It's all gone up and it's got to be met somewhere. So yeah, I'm still to be listening to the debate tonight whether I can support this. And I'm also sort of interested in that feedback, whether or not, and we have had experience of users that cannot use a card system because they don't have that.
So I'm happy to come back on that. So with regards to your last element of that question regarding card payment systems, when Coe Street toilets first went live with cardless payments, we did receive a lot of feedback. Have we received much feedback ongoing since the first initial launch? No, we haven't heard hardly anything at all. With regards to ongoing user feedback, we do an annual resident survey, which again we can ask specific questions around toilet cleanliness, toilet usage, and ensure we will continue to include those questions. We try and have the same standard questions so we can look at year on year feedback. You said about the standard experience across Coast Street and also Swanley toilets. From experience being working with service managers, I'm aware that we have very minimal negative feedback from Swanley or even vandalism. In the last 6 years, I think kind of a handful of times where Swanley has been vandalised because it's chargeable. It is a dated toilet block, tiles aren't as luxurious as the ones at Coast Street. However, that standard in there is probably one of the highest standard toilets across the town.
Very much, Councillor Dickinson.
Yeah, I mean, Charmaine actually has answered one of my questions about the negative feedback, because I was just thinking about ladies and gentlemen of a certain age, I mean, are they going to be using cards? Would they know that they had to do that if they come down as tourists? I mean, I'm just thinking back to my mother. She would never, ever have thought to have a card to go to the loo. And I know that's perhaps, a little bit outdated thought now, but I think it's food for thought that not everybody is going to know about using cards.
Councillor Welland.
I think I'm probably the oldest here.
Not many dogs.
Oh, no, not quite. Sorry, I'm not quite, I forgot Councillor Atkinson outweighs me a little bit, but you use a card, don't you?
I don't carry cash, I only carry the card. Yeah.
Right, and I use a card, and I have friends 10 years older than me who use cards. So I don't, yes, you will get the odd person, and you'll get young people who say, I won't carry a card, as a matter of principle and something that really inconveniences them like mad, but they still hang on to those principles. I think we have to come to a point where we say we're using cards, and it may inconvenience someone.
Nice pun there, yes.
Generally speaking, if you think back to when you put a penny in a slot, there was somebody there who said, oh, I haven't got a penny, and you held the door open for. And that will happen with, somebody standing there saying, but I don't have a card. There is going to be someone there who'll say, come in after me, I'll use my card. Because nobody's going to begrudge giving a non-card user 50 pence to do it with me.
Councillor Taylor.
It was just a thought, this car parks and the car park. And to the toilets, the toilet in the car park. And to park, you've got to park. Sorry, to use the toilet, you've then got to park, it's been a long day. And you've got to park, therefore you will have used your car.
Yeah, I see your point there.
Yeah.
So I think it's perfectly appropriate for this toilet block.
Yeah.
But it's something that we may have to consider if we're going to do some of the other toilets where there is a generation who may not have cards. So I'm quite happy with this one, that I think sort of when we go forward, if we have a discussion about any others, then that's something we need to take into consideration, who actually uses them.
It's Councillor Hope first and then Councillor Leary after.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm going to ask a question, and I think I know the answer why, but is there not an option to have both a card and cash system?
Because if we
And I realise that more will go on card and reduce the amount going in cash, so it makes it more expensive to collect that at the end of the night, and I probably think that's the reason why.
And also the biggest thing with the current coin mechanism is it breaks a lot. That's one of the reasons why we brought this paper forward, is because the mechanism is constantly breaking, which means we then have to keep the doors open, so it's actually free until we can find this specialised path from wherever. And I think that could happen again, whereas this is just simply nothing can break. The only thing that will break would be if the signal goes, but that's right.
And from the information that I've seen from the officers have provided me, I haven't seen any dual systems of a card and cash.
Councillor Leary.
Yeah, it's a very nerdy point, and it's one of principle, and there's this belief that going over the card is a positive thing. It's not. Card isn't actual money. I'm a great believer in actual real paper money. Well, even paper's not real money. Sorry, I'm bringing my economics now. But fiat currency is a bad thing. We need to go back to a lot more being done by cash and real hard money as opposed to, because one day it will all go wrong, frankly. So that's my opinion, is that we're going over the side, it's not a problem. They're getting on the gold standard.
Doom and gloom, save yourselves now.
Right, thank you, councillor Lynn. Now,
Fractional reserve banking.
we have had a proposal. We haven't had anyone second that proposal yet. So just for clarity, a proposal was for recommendation as
Yes.
written.
Yes.
Seconded by councillor Taylor. So I think we've had fair discussion on this. We'll move to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? Any abstentions? No, so that is carried. Thank you very much, councillors. Good debate. Right, it's Will again. So this one. Oh, that's brilliant. Toilets again.
Oh, no.
You said they were interesting.
Oh, yeah.
So, item 11 is free toilet access for events. Over to you, Will.
Thanks, Chair. This report brings forward a proposed free toilet access policy to support local events by allowing free access to our chargeable toilet facilities, Cove Street and Swannery on selected days each year. The policy has been developed following feedback from event organisers and a decision made in an extraordinary committee meeting in May, where charges were temporarily suspended for 2 upcoming events. Councillors at the meeting asked officers to create a long-term structured approach. The proposed scheme mirrors the Dorset Council's free parking scheme, offering up to 6 free toilet access days per year. Charities and not-for-profit groups will be invited to apply via a simple online form with a deadline of the 28th of February each year. The Environment and Services Committee will then review applications and allocate free days accordingly. Should an event require more than 6 days, organisers would need to cover the cost of lost income. Unused days would not be able to be carried forward. Thank you.
Very much, Will. And councillor Hopes, indicate to speak.
Chair, I should have declared a non-pecuniary interest in this item and also as a event organiser for local charities, again primarily being the Lions, although we don't currently get affected by bullet charges at any of the current events. Can I speak to the item as well?
You can speak to the item, yeah.
Yeah, firstly, can I thank members for supporting that extraordinary meeting and the request for this to come forward. You may have seen in the press that Weymouth Rotary successfully raised over £20,000 at Farrington Square, which the extraordinary meeting supported the free use there. And also the Wessex Folk Festival had a very good weekend where they were able to showcase culture and heritage, and again, very good footfall for that side of town and the local businesses. I'm looking at the policy and I am struggling with a couple of little points in the actual policy. So first of all, I've got to say thank you for a very good process flow. Looks like it might have been done on Visio, following a previous suggestion, but no, thank you very much for the good process flow. I do like those. I'm just struggling to understand why we would not allow this policy to be used in conjunction with Dorset Council's policy for free car parking days. I again speak with some experience. Those sorts of event organisers that have that are normally charity ones. They're really running on a shoestring, either trying to promote arts and culture through their charity objectives or trying to raise money for local charities. So that would be a recommendation of mine, that we remove the clause in there that says both policies can be used in conjunction. It's not our policy, although we put nominations forward to Dorset Council, not our policy, had no effect on us or the income we receive as a council. Other than that, I would just ask for a review after the first rounding of this. I think we may have to, probably this year would be fine, again with the limitations on the amount of toilets that are actually impacted by charity events. Like I say, to date, I think it's just those 2 events that run for 2 days each. But as we roll this out and it goes out to more toilet facilities and starts impacting more events, we may need to do a policy review and may need to extend 6 days to maybe 10, 15, 20. so that we can support more groups and organisations with their objectives that align to the council's priorities later on. But I think at the moment, 6 days will be sufficient.
Did you want to respond to the bit about the free parking day overlap?
Yeah, I'm happy for it, if members agree, I'm happy for it.
Good, thank you. I think there's councillor Werner next.
I was going to bring up the point of the parking days, that seemed a bit of an anomaly to me. The other thing I'm not altogether clear on, the second paragraph in the policy, at the request of event organisers, free toilet access in all Weymouth Town Council paid toilet facilities. Not too sure about that, because if it's the fair and the square, why would we give free toilets at the statue? We don't charge there at the moment anyway, but if sometime when we did, you know, we've given them free. And similarly, the Swannery, because the Swan, you know, are people going to walk from Swannery? They might do, but you know, it's not going to impact on the fair and the square. So there were those two things, and adding to what Councillor Ryan was saying, with the free car parking things, of course, further down we've got the combining the Christmas lighting with the Santa and all the rest of it. That's an event that we're doing together. It's done on a free parking. That's a free parking day, isn't it? It's a free parking day. So we would want people to be able to go for a wee free on those occasions. So I'm just sort of covering for the future when those things come, really. But so I think it should be free toilet access in relevant Weymouth Town Council facilities, and then we're covered for that, rather than us having to jiggle about this in the future. Does that make sense?
Yes.
We can update the policy, members are happy. You can do it, you have to be really.
Quite like I've got in now, because it's nice and easy to do, isn't it? And then it's done.
So the clarity for putting in second paragraph, where it currently says free toilet access in all the Weymouth Town Council paid toilet facilities, change that to relevant to the event.
Relevant, just as say relevant, because
Yeah.
you've got the discretion there, haven't you?
Okay, and then coming back to a previous point, just trying to bring this all together from the points raised so far. In the notes section, I believe it's note
Item
6. My Roman numerals there, so removing that essentially, yep. Nothing further to be done with that.
Nikki says I'm going to move to the live document.
Okay, so we've had those two adjustments to the policy prior to it going to vote or anything along those lines. I think everyone seems, feeling in the room seemed happy with that. Councillor Hope.
And Councillor O'Leary's had his hand
Oh, sorry,
up to
you did
speak.
before.
Yes, thank you
Councillor
very
O'Leary.
much. It's just a very quick one in line with what I said in the previous item. And coming on from what Councillor Wells said, I think people should be able to weed for free all the time. So I'm fully in favour of this. And I mean, I'm not going to propose it. I think Councillor Hope would like to, have a second.
Thank you, Councillor Hope.
Thank you. The only thing I'd say also is there seems to be an inconsistency in how organisations apply for these 3 days. So previously, to get some information, the parking one that we administer on behalf of Dorset Council normally goes out on a Survey Monkey, where we have to, the event organiser has to supply some information around the benefit and what the objectives of the event is and what they're doing. Where here we're now saying email resort at Weymouth Town Council. Can we just bring that in line? Ideally, when we get the online forms on the website,
That's exactly it.
submission just via there.
Okay.
I can't update that on here, but we will do it via the most applicable methods, but we are very digital, so.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we've got the policy slightly adjusted with the feedback from members. That's really good. We've got the officer recommendation. I'm happy to propose that. Or have you already done it? Go for it. Go on.
I propose it, Chair.
And then Councillor O'Leary seconding. Proposed by Councillor Hope, seconded by Councillor O'Leary. Any further points to make? Councillor Tim.
Only that, we asked comms to contact all charities about this change so that they are aware. in time for February and it doesn't go over people's heads, you know, so nobody told me.
So we will do that by our communications team and also our senior resorts, who looks after the events, so they can obviously ensure when people events making bookings that they're aware of that we can.
So we've got a second, I think we should move to the vote. All those in favour? That's unanimous. Thank you very much. Will is earning his pennies this evening because item 12, 2025 Christmas event agreement to be introduced by Paul Holmes.
Thank you, Chair. Before I start, I'd like to clarify just a factual error in the report. Officers have been working closely with the CEO of We Are Weymouth, not the directors, which is in the report. It says quite a lot about directors, but it is with the CEO. This report seeks approval of a formal partnership agreement between Weymouth Town Council and We Are Weymouth for the delivery of the 2025 Christmas light switch on and Elf World Record attempt. We Are Weymouth has successfully delivered previous Christmas events through a third-party company. However, following a committee decision earlier this year, officers were asked to explore a joint approach for future events to maximise community benefit and efficiency. Under the proposed one-year trial agreement, the council will lead on operational delivery, including event planning, staffing and insurance, while We Are Weymouth will lead on budgeting, marketing and booking entertainment, ensuring strong engagement with the business community. The agreement introduces a more collaborative model that allows both organisations to play to their strengths. The council's in-kind contribution, primarily officer time and equipment, equates to a saving of approximately £5,000 for We Are Weymouth. That funding will instead be invested into enhancing the 2025 Christmas offer for the public. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So Christmas in the heat of summer, we're discussing. So any comments on this item, Councillor Bennett?
I'm delighted to see a greater collaboration between ourselves and the bid. Long may it last, long may it continue, and grow. I will recommend it for approval. I think we should build on this now to improve that relationship still further.
So is that a proposal?
It is.
Thank you. Any further comments at this stage? Councillor.
Thank you very much, Chair. If I can just have Chairman, quite right, Councillor. If I could just have some clarity, so this is just the one event this year we're working with We Are Weymouth on, which is the light switch on, not the whole programme that We Are Weymouth normally deliver over the season, is that correct?
Yeah, just the light switch on and the Elf Parade.
Great. Following on from that, Chairman, if I may, can I ask that obviously I'm fully supportive of this, the reason Councillor Weller is. I think it offers value for money for our local businesses who are all levy payers into the bid, as we are. So we can help retain the additional 5,000 to enhance the experience and promote the event and get Weymouth on the map. I'm fully supportive, and I would just like to say, following this year, we could do a review to see if there's further elements of the out-of-season events that the bid do that we can support further with. I appreciate in the summer our resort team's already stretched, but the winter is normally a time for them to rest and reflect on the summer madness, I know. I'm just wondering whether or not this could be expanded to form a stronger partnership with the bid. And again, one event can save 5,000. If you think of the programme of events, there may be real good benefits for our local levy payers and for our residents to benefit from.
Very much. I'm just going to hand over to the Assistant Town Clerk briefly.
So item 12, appendix C, there is a typo on page 3. The second signatory will be changed to We Are Weymouth. So it doesn't change anything else from the documentation, it's just the name will be changed to We Are Weymouth.
Thank you very much. Any further comments? That's right.
I just want to say, as the bid director for the town council, very much support that we collaborate with We Are Weymouth as much as possible.
Thank you very much. So, I believe we had a proposer, which was Councillor Weller. Is anyone happy to second this one? Councillor Atkinson. Any further comments before we move to the vote? Fantastic. Okay, all those in favour? It's unanimous. Thank you very much. And that brings Will's evening, long evening until close. Thank you, Will, for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you, Will. So, moving on to item 13, which is the information items. Any councillor questions regarding information items should have been submitted in advance of the meeting. They're all in the published documents. I think there is one point the assistant town clerk wants to make.
Again, there is a note there of an incomplete health and safety update section. That is actually on finance and governance agenda, so if you sit on the finance and governance agenda committee, the agenda for the meeting next week, there will be a number of health and safety policies for you to review. But going forward, we will be bringing an update to this committee on health and safety items.
Thank you very much. So members are just asked to note those and we don't need to go to a vote particularly on that. So at 8:10, bring the meeting to a close and thank you for everyone's contributions.